We were 25 and brimming with life, ready to take on the world. I had just been promoted to a high-paying and stable job, store manager of a Blockbuster Video. She had just finished nursing school. She was young and athletic, a runner who didn't know the meaning of the word quit. We purchased a home in suburbia and were fearlessly plowing past life's roadside markers, no brakes, top down, joyously in love. And we were on our way to the hospital to have a baby. We arrived at the hospital prepared in our minds to become parents. We had gone through Lamaze classes and baby-proofed our home. We bought baby clothes and a crib. We stockpiled chewable books and super absorbent diapers. We picked out the perfect name. But as my wife was being wheeled toward the operating room, the doctor asked a question that made our efforts seem laughably insignificant. "So," he asked, "are you ready to bring a life into the world?" Looking back at our tax returns from that time, I'm horrified. How could we have been so irresponsible? I was frighteningly immature, precariously employed, and didn't have the first clue to the sacrifices necessary to give a new baby the attention it deserves. The responsibility owed to any new life brought unknowingly and unconsentingly into the world, with few guarantees beyond the experience of pain, heartache, and death. And yes, taxes. The next few years were hard, harder than I ever imagined it could be, but worth it all the more. Our children's love has given me a depth of contentment and happiness beyond description, but the sleepless nights and 1,000 readings of Green Eggs and Ham were not an investment on some future return, not a down payment or a transaction of any kind. They were what our creation deserved from their creator. Unfortunately, not all parents feel the same. In Mary Shelley's masterpiece of Gothic horror, there has been some confusion as to whose name the eponymous title belongs. As I'm sure you know, Frankenstein is the mad scientist's name. The creation, Frankenstein's quote-unquote monster, isn't given one. But what interests me is the public confusion that gets mentioned far less frequently. Who is the villain of this story? While Shelley far from excuses the creature for his violent actions, Frankenstein, the negligent father, is her antagonist. Like Dracula or Lord of the Rings, it's the villain's moniker that infamously graces the cover of the novel. And beyond this, Shelley makes great pains throughout the book to make sure Frankenstein's selfish nature is front and center. Frankenstein is not ignorant of his responsibility. He knows what is owed his creature. In a fit of enthusiastic madness, I created a rational creature and was bound towards him to assure as far as was in my power his happiness and well-being. But does he provide for his creation as far as was in his power? Far from it. The reversal of his enthusiasm is so abrupt as to be comical. I had desired it with an ardor that far exceeded moderation, but now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart. Frankenstein's behavior when the monster awakes plays out like a fever dream. Overcome by exhaustion and disgust for what he's done, he abruptly decides to take a nap. When he awakes, the monster is there, looming over his bedside, staring like some gruesome child that's come for a nighttime glass of milk. Frankenstein, in a panic, flees his home, not returning until obligation forces him to. Finding the monster gone upon his arrival, he initially feels relief, but guilt begins to assail his conscience. With such extreme effects, he behaves like a lunatic, cutting himself off from his family and friends, wallowing in self-recrimination. He reminded me of Raskolnikov, the miserable wretch from Crime and Punishment, who drove himself to madness with the guilt of murder. I felt as if I had committed some great crime, the consciousness of which haunted me. I was guiltless, but I had indeed drawn down a horrible curse upon my head, as mortal as that of crime. Frankenstein's guilt in an ironic twist comes from the life he has created, and his failure as a father. Where happiness and well-being were owed, he gave nothing. I think the monster himself puts it best in his self-pitying account of this condition. I, the miserable and the abandoned, am an abortion, to be spurned at and kicked and tramped upon. Even now my blood boils at the recollection of this injustice. Shelley treats Frankenstein's absence like the deist god who is nowhere to be found, refusing to interfere in the crises, struggles, and tragedies of mankind. Without a guiding light or loving moral compass, the creature is left to drift aimlessly, eventually, in his suffering, acting out in violent retribution against those Frankenstein loves most. Shelley, speaking through the monster, unapologetically points an accusatory finger at Frankenstein, leaving a large part of the blame for these deaths at the feet of the Creator. Remember that I am thy creature. I ought to be thy Adam, but am rather the fallen angel, whom thou drivest from joy for no misdeed. Everywhere I see bliss, from which I alone am irrevocably excluded. I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend. Make me happy, and I shall again be virtuous. But can you justly blame a parent for the crimes of the child? This question is frighteningly relevant to the contemporary audience. Consider the case of the Crumbleys, Michigan parents who in 2024 were tried and convicted for the acts of their 15-year-old boy who went to school and killed 4 people with the gun his parents bought him for Christmas, who repeatedly showed signs of violent depression and misanthropy that were routinely ignored. Children internalize the rejection of their parents, transforming their neglect into self-hate, hatred of the world around them, and, as in Frankenstein, hatred of their creator. There was nothing among the myriads of men that existed who would pity or assist me, and should I feel kindness towards my enemies? No. From that moment I declared everlasting war against the species, and more than all, against him who had formed me and sent me forth to this insupportable misery. Just how much did the actions and inactions of the Crumbly parents pull the trigger that day? Were the scars left on the throats of the creature's victims really from the work of Frankenstein's hands? These are impossible questions to answer. But what's clear is the harm done to lives so flippantly brought into the world without love or supervision. That's why as readers, we find Frankenstein's entitlement so infuriating. When swept into the madness of his invention, the doctor can only see what he has to gain from the act of creation, what he gets out of the bargain. A new species would bless me as its creator and source. Many happy and excellent natures would owe their being to me. No father could claim the gratitude of his child so completely as I should deserve theirs. Frankenstein's obsession with creating life is a disgustingly selfish, single-minded pursuit. His creation's wants and needs? Never given a single thought. Like dog breeders incestuously pairing animals for the traits most beneficial to humans, while ignoring their dogs' catastrophic genetic detriments, their breathing issues, their skeletal deformities, and their astoundingly high rates of cancer. Or, even more apt, the poignantly named Frankenchickens, bred by the tens of billions in factory farms every year, a number so large it can be difficult to comprehend. Despite the health concerns and environmental devastation caused by so large an operation, we plow ahead, ethics be damned. It reminds me of Saruman from Lord of the Rings, depravedly crossbreeding an army of hulking Uruk-hai at the ruin of Fangorn Forest. Through artificial selection, these animals have been so extremely deformed, their bodies are a devastated wreck, scarily analogous to Frankenstein's creature. They've been bred to grow so large Their oxygen-starved muscles can die, turning necrotic and green while the chicken still lives. Their breasts grow so large that often they collapse under their own weight, bones snapping, their delicate frames too weak to support themselves. Many die face down in their own feces, having never seen the light of day. They are bred to suffer, born to die, their misery invisible to their creators. That is the true warning of Frankenstein, that creating life carelessly, without care, is a monstrous act.